As far as I can remember, I've never struggled to read. My parents tell me that I was always able to decode words and read fluently, and passed all of my reading SOLs with a pass advanced score. Although I read fairly easily, there was always room for improvement. In fourth grade, my absolute favorite teacher, Miss Rasmussen, separated her students into leveled reading groups. I was in the yellow group and knew I was in the second highest skilled group. I was easily frustrated listening to those around me and knew I wanted more of a challenge. Being the outspoken girl that I was, I expressed my frustrations to Miss Rasmussen. She told me if I worked really hard, she would move me to the blue group, and even invited me to her classroom during lunch to practice. After a few weeks of hard work, I was moved into the blue group. I was so excited, and my confidence when reading aloud and reading all together peaked. Unfortunately, however, enjoying reading and being good at it are two completely different things. Each year, no matter who the teacher, language arts homework always included reading for 20 minutes each day. I recall many of my friends telling me that their parents never made them read for those 20 minutes, but mine sure did. I was incredibly jealous that my friends weren't made to read and was angry that I had to, which I believe started my distaste for reading. Fast forward to high school, and the 20 minutes of reading each night continued, but by now my parents no longer enforced homework as strictly. On the other hand, teachers would assign novels to be read on our own time and always gave corresponding assignments and tests to complete. At this point in time, I was a bit more motivated to read, but it seemed like I was always reading novels that were of no interest to me and in no way initiated a love for reading. However, today I have developed a passion for reading. I believe this is because I now have choices. I have the ability to read about the people, places, and ideas that capture my interest, and I think that makes all the difference. It is unfortunate that it took until my first year of teaching at the age of 24 to realize the value in reading, but now I get the opportunity to instill this same passion in my students. While I have always been a strong reader, writing has always been a different story for me. Don't get me wrong, I am quite strong in the area of usage and mechanics. In fact, The Thesaurus is one of my favorite books. However, being a creative writer has never been my strong suit. I believe this is because there are so many rules. In schools, writing requirements leave little room for creativity, and there is so much pressure put on students to respond appropriately to the prompt. I vividly remember an experience I had in high school that averted any desire I ever had to write. In 10th grade, students were required to respond to a prompt regarding our summer reading novel. The room was silent, but pencil stroking paper could be heard throughout. I looked around, clueless as to what I was going to write because the prompt placed so many restrictions on me. The teacher approached me and made a seemingly big scene, trying to give me advice but only belittling my confidence, speaking loud enough for my peers to hear. The embarrassment I felt was enough to switch myself out of the AP English class that I was in and join a lower level class where I thought I belonged. From that moment on, I've never enjoyed writing, regardless of how exciting the topic is. It just isn't my favorite thing to do. My distaste for writing is a bit ironic, as I was an 8th grade collaborative English teacher last year in a class that focused heavily on writing from September to March. Although I am not passionate about writing, I am passionate about helping my students and will do so in any capacity. In fact, I will be returning to the same position next year. Which brings me to my next point. I have created a list of 3 very important takeaways from my first year of teaching and how I will apply what I have learned to literacy within my classroom. First and foremost, students want choices. Even if it's giving them the option to choose between the blue highlighter and the pink highlighter, students need to feel like they are being heard. Secondly, what works for one student may not work for another. Students' abilities vary significantly. And finally, collaboration between students is key. Collaboration not only allows students to learn from one another, but it also teaches them a number of other invaluable lessons, including how to interact with their peers and taking leadership roles. So, what have I taken away from the lessons I have learned, and how will I apply them to literacy in my classroom? Now, let's go back to the idea of giving students choices. During our novel study unit, I will give my students a choice of 2 to 3 novels. They may choose to read whichever novel captures their interest the most. Additionally, I will take reading inventories at the beginning of the year to help stock our classroom library with books that students choose and are interested in. Now, I know this can't be done every single time that we write, but it will give my students a sense of power and that they are able to choose. Additionally, I will allow my students to get creative and choose different formats to write in, including newspaper articles, thank you cards, and letters. Secondly, we have what works for one student may not work for another. When reading as a class, I will try and incorporate more text that has step reads to fit students' abilities. When writing, I will provide students with a variety of graphic organizers that they can choose from when brainstorming. They have the ability to choose whichever works best for them. I will also take advantage of the fact that students love to use technology and utilize free resources such as No Red Ink to help improve students' writing skills. Lastly, we have collaboration between students is key. During reading, I will create groups with students of varying abilities during our novel study units so that they can play off of each other's ideas and abilities. I will also work to create lessons that make collaborating fun through games, readers' theaters, and other exciting activities. Brainstorm with one another. Additionally, I will encourage groups to share ideas and write in a variety of forms. For example, reading a short folktale and turning that into a reader's theater with dialogue. Overall, as a student, if I was given more choices, provided with differentiated instruction, and given more time to collaborate with my peers, I may have enjoyed reading and may have improved my writing skills a lot sooner than I did. My hope is that I can foster a desire to read and write in my students at a young age.